All right, let's just start here then. So we've got third house. Third house is the house of communication. And this is all forms of communication, whether it's written, verbal, body language. It can even be online, whatever the situation may be. It rules all of that. It also rules communications with specific people. These can be family members, general relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, even neighbors can come in with the third house. It could also be communication with a wider audience. So this could be hearing news as well, or receiving information or receiving news, contracts, documents, could be coming in, or you could be initiating that in some way. It can also be things like gossip, hearing things, just hearing things from wherever you are or whatever is going on in your life. But it's also about short journeys. A short journey may be coming up for you. And this usually involves car travel or maps. So it's a trip that needs to be planned. So possibly that will come in for you as well. But all forms of communication are very, very important. Specifically, contracts and documents may come up for you. So we've got Mercury. Mercury rules the third house. So we've got a very strong Mercury influence for you, and Mercury rules your sign, as I said. So this, I feel, is going to be very, very important. Mercury is all forms of communication again, but it's also the analytical mind. It's the mind itself. And this can be in the form of learning, sharp wit, very humorous. It's also analyzing things. It's also weighing things up. It's research. It can also be expression, as in teaching or, delivering messages. It's also about the energy of like walking your talk. So actually, living your purpose, but walking your talk. It's also about sincerity, being sincere, because sometimes with the Mercury energy, it can make you a little bit glib, or come across as being a bit scatty as well. Too much talking. Sales talk, almost gift of the gab. That can all be included in this. But it can also be, as I said, the assimilation or the understanding of things, whether this is verbal or whether it's through research, learning, something like that. And it's got, as I said, a very strong communication aspect to it. So I would say that this is about choosing your words with care, especially if you've got Mercury going retrograde, which will happen on the 29th of May. But there's normally a little period before that. Sometimes it's about a week where you start to notice that Mercury slows down, and that can actually already create this effect where communications can sometimes go awry, and your electronics and your computers and things go on the glitch, your cell phone and so on. All of those sorts of things can happen, but it can also come down to communications. If you can avoid signing anything or doing any contracts during that period till the 22nd of June. There's also a little shadow period afterwards. So all of this, but certainly communication is strongly featured during this period. So, but it's a really, really, really good period to go within and actually to assess whatever you're planning or whatever you're trying to initiate, whatever you're trying to project or to start or to initiate or to sign and, make happen. It's a good time to pull back if possible and actually go over all aspects again. It's like back to the drawing board. It's a very, very important time for Mercury retrograde. So to go over things again, research, do more, go over things, check all the details, triple check them. And if you feel that you are struggling with Mercury retrograde, then ask somebody else who may not be as much affected. You can go over things for you as well. So very, very important, but all forms of communication. This can also be listening. This can also be multitasking. There may be a few truths that you're hearing as well. But in all cases, take the high road. And if you can, delay any signings or things like that. And go over things again, because you may just pick up a few things that need refining or they need sorting out in some way. Things like getting your car serviced during a Mercury retrograde can also be a bit of a problem. But generally, Mercury is aspected here, and it's the ruler of the third house. So communication is very, very, very important. Learning, dissemination of information, few car journeys. and the mental aspect. Bring humor in if you need to, but check your words and your thoughts very, very carefully during this period. We've also got Isha, medicine woman, coming in. So I think what this is doing is saying that you need to be careful. This is about what you're saying and what you're projecting outwards to others. Now, for some of you, you could be a channeler, or you could be disseminating information in some way, and you're connecting via this, you're like a lightning rod, and you're connected to heaven in some way, or to your angels, or to your guides, or to whatever it may be. You're downloading information, and it has a sort of a healing aspect to it as well. So you are a channel for divine healing power. So I do feel that this is to do with what you're saying, what you're writing, what you're communicating with others, and you may be researching, you may be learning things to do with this, but it's saying that this is about using your words with care, all right? Particularly with Mercury, particularly with third house, use your words with care. Choose your words. This is about manifestation as well. So what you think and what you say must be positive. It must be appropriate, and appropriate for the situation. So be careful with that. And use your words, use your power of expression, well, use it well, because you're going to be having this ability. You've got this ability to channel energy down through your words, or through whatever it is that you're doing in the sphere. And it's very much, it's going to have like a healing effect, or it may be even writing. It could be writing things, or you could be using that information to help others, someone in your family. It could be, because I said third house does cover certain family members and so on. So I'm just thinking that it's really to do with choose your words with care. Choose your thoughts with care. Your expression is very, very important during this period. And this is why I feel you've got responsibility here, and also why you have the Virgo card. Okay. So take responsibility for what you say and your actions, and, whatever any contracts or any negotiations or documents that you may be reviewing, be responsible with your actions, and also with, as I said, don't come across as being insincere or glib, or like a sales pitch. This is all about doing things with integrity and being responsible for what you're saying. All right, so just be careful with that. Now we've got here. We've got here the 8th house, endings and beginnings. So the 8th house is always about cycle shifts. So this is very much about something ending and something beginning. Now, it can be a big cycle that you've already been through. You may be already in the ending, or it has ended, and now you're going through that transition phase where you're starting something new. Just take it as it resonates for your situation. 3 and 2 is 5, so definitely May is important for this. Now, it can be endings of all kinds, and it can be beginnings of all kinds. And this can also be something finance related. So you could be ending the way you have been operating financially up until this point, and you're changing something, and you're now trying something new. You may be changing your portfolios. The finance aspect of the 8th house is big, so it's all a big money. So this is normally your investments, insurances, assets, banking, tax comes in, and in some cases it can be like your any kind of investment, anything big. And it's also to do, in certain situations, it can be legacies or inheritances may come in with this as well. It's also about sexuality. So for some of you, this may be more of a focus. And, it may be that you're coming into connection with somebody, because there's a beginning here, and you may be have ended something, or you may just have been gone through a long cycle of not having a partner. And now you're coming into connection with somebody. But normally the 8th house is after the 7th. So the 7th is the house of commitment when it comes to relationships. And the 8th house is how the relationship or the partnership, it can be a business partnership, how is that going to work? From a material and emotional resources point of view. So how are the nuts and bolts going to hold that relationship or that partnership together? So it can be finance related. It can be all the really serious parts of a relationship. This is about how the nuts and bolts of that kind of relationship or that partnership. How is that going to work? It's also handling other people's money does also come in with this this card as well. The other aspect of this is a death, but this is not necessarily a physical death. It can be for some people, but it's usually something like an ego death, or some aspect of your life falls away because you don't need it anymore, or you've outgrown it. So you go, that's where the cycle shift comes in. So you've had something in your life for a long period of time, it falls away or just dissolves, and now something new is preparing to come in. And it's, in some cases, it can be an ego death where you've got used to having things in a certain way, emotionally or whatever, and now you have to shift and change out of that and realign your life. It can also be about birthing things. This can be birthing new conditions. This is where the cycle shift comes in, the beginnings, birthing something. It can be birth as well, actual birth, but it's usually to do with conditions in your life. And this house also deals with, it's quite a deep house. It can be psychic knowledge coming up as well. It's also about, sort of almost like the something that's being regenerated or renewed. So it's like something that is coming out of something that was thought of as ended, over, finished, almost like not existent anymore. Something comes out of that. It can be health related, but it can also be out of a circumstance which you thought was over or just didn't ever get off the ground. Nothing happened from it, and a phoenix rises up out of the ashes. There's that regenerative or renewal energy with this as well.